Mondays to Fridays. X-Ray on Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM, Abuja. We are the joy of our nation. We are the unity of our nation. We are the makers of our heritage. We X-ray topical national issues and the trending matters of our time. Examined, dissected, and analyzed. With our team of analysts, you can be sure of an incisive discourse. 9 a.m., Mondays to Fridays. X-Ray on Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM, Abuja. Hello and welcome to X-Ray on Human Rights Radio 101.1. My name is Ruth Usman and today,
yes, Ruth Usman.
I have an idea why you did that, but
yes.
It's okay. In that case, I think everyone should just introduce themselves, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Oikeke Igado Kure.
Is good. Ladies first. And I'm Olive Moke Onogwai.
And I am the emperor of the house, the only man standing. My name is,
all we needed was your name. All right, so the entire crew is here. We're excited to be here. We had a good weekend. I hope we all did. At least I think I did.
Okay, yeah. Well, a short weekend though. Yeah, but it was okay.
Always short though. But it's all good. Thank you for being available in the studio today. As always on X-Ray, we look at trending issues around us. And the first story we're going to look at is this one that says Senate President Bukola Saraki condemns human trafficking as Dogara Obaseki lead Nigerian delegation to Italy. The Senate President Bukola Saraki has described the rate of human trafficking and illegal migration by some Nigerians as a threat to national security that were expected to join the delegation. Okay. There was some... are we eager to weigh in on the issue or some family matters there? Well, this is coming... we've heard the women were unfortunately buried a few days ago, all the way over there in Italy. So many questions, so many thoughts about this recent development. What's your take on this?
Some people and some of us are thinking that that visit to Italy should have been done earlier than now. As a matter of fact, when we heard about the death of those young Nigerian women, we expected, especially that they were even buried, we expected that we hear that someone went there to Italy.
There were no Nigerian representatives.
We didn't hear of anybody going. Okay. So why are we going now? They have been buried anyway. But on the other side, they're going because they want to talk about empowerment of women. You cannot overemphasize that. Well, if we have to go to Italy to begin to talk about that, fine, because most of these people they found themselves on the way to Italy all the time. So if we're going to Italy to discuss about the empowerment, well, maybe it can pass. But this is an issue that we should look at it not just on the books anymore. The issue of empowerment of women is very critical. A lot of the women that are going, I know some of them may be educated, right, and they're looking for greener pastures or maybe better jobs, but majority of the people who are on their way to these places are people who we hear when you interview them. They'll tell you somebody promised that they're going to work in a salon, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, things that ordinarily they could also do here if the environment is favorable. So we're talking about strengthening the capacity, the existing capacity of women. Women have the right capabilities if given the right environment. So we should begin to look at it. Poverty is a major contributory factor to this movement. We cannot remove poverty. A typical Nigerian woman maybe poor, or I don't want to say it's poor, because so many things stands against the Nigerian woman when you're talking about empowerment. I know Harris Price doesn't agree with me, but poverty, look, to a Nigerian woman is not just about lack of want or
for how
what.
long are we going to continue to blame our woes on poverty?
Yes, because poverty has a role to play. Of course, we know that you can also have the green pasture that you're looking for here. But then if we reduce poverty,
we have more green in Nigeria than in Italy.
You see, when you're talking of poverty, a lot of people don't understand. We're looking at an issue where a woman, you have a child that is hungry, you can't give that child food. That is poverty.
So you have
a child with you.
A lot of times, the fact that we've seen it happen a lot of time, that at the end, even when they get to Italy or any of the European countries, what they are expecting is not what
really what is it. I'm not trying to stand. I'm not trying to
people from
I'm not trying to say people should go there because they are poor. But at the same time. At the same time, if you remove poverty out of it, you would have solved a lot of these issues. We're talking about women, girls who cannot go to school because they don't have the.
You're focusing.
Cannot contribute to society.
Harris,
I
slow
beg to
down.
disagree.
Okay, she's talking about poverty.
Yes.
Now, I am of the opinion. Interestingly, I don't think I know anyone personally who has been through that. But usually, I know for when you're looking for certain help to leave the country, no matter, usually if it's especially if it's illegal like this, you are expected to pay some money.
Sure.
Yes.
So I want to believe too that these people, some of them are able to raise money.
This money.
Yes.
Now, and again, this is not a new trend. It's calls for talked about. I remember the former wife of the vice president, Titi Atiku, devoted all her time in government talking about child trafficking, and the awareness was so well spread. So for us to begin to blame poverty, illiteracy, when you do a survey of these girls, you will understand that these are educated.
Not all of them.
Most of them are educated. When they speak, you know that yes, people are speaking, but they are covered with greed. Greed should be the first overriding interest when you embark on a deadly mission that you have to pass through the desert, across the sea to go and become a house help. What does that tell us as a people? There's no justification for that. There's poverty in Italy, there's poverty in America, there's poverty everywhere. And again, poverty sometimes is actually a thing of the mind. When you can't do what you have, your oju kokoro for big lifestyle will actually put you in a situation that you want to be like others. Life is a gradual process. You cannot skip the phase of life. You cannot wake up, I want to be the big woman of today. It has to be a process. We should begin to shy away from this general blanket of blaming, putting everything to poverty. Poverty is relative.
So are you saying we don't have conditions that
we can't rule out, the fact that poverty and frustration.
Yeah, I mean, it's real Harris Price. We see
it. To leave the country and all that. The fact that we have food to eat, we wake up and we know we wake up to go to somewhere, that we are going to make money when we get back home, does not mean that they are not. Have lots of people don't even get their next. And then talking about how they get to pay, because I know I read a report sometime in 2013 where one of the women who gave birth aboard one of those their ship on the Mediterranean allegedly said she spent about 5 years in Libya with her husband trying to get money able to pay for the people who traffic them to it. So poverty, no doubt, is a. That is not to say that
I don't think poverty is the absence of having a source of income, because you may have a source of income and you're just living virtually from hand to mouth.
You also that is very correct.
But on the issue of this particular poverty to me. poverty is relative. What is poverty to you? Like I like what he said. Like it's also of the mind. There's something they call poverty of the mind. What is the development of your mind? How are you developed mentally, physically, and all that to tackle with whatever situation that you find yourself? So, but we cannot rule out. I'm not saying that poverty is the only cause, of course, but it's one major factor that is in. You know, when you are poor, you're vulnerable. We hear about how families will even sell their family houses to send children to on this kind of trips. You understand?
So people play on their minds.
Yes,
people play on their minds. They tell them it's always better over there.
Because
and so you can give up everything you have here. Just get there. That's the most important.
Do you know why I'm talking about poverty? For instance, you cannot have a director's child, for instance, or maybe one banker's child, for instance, or maybe one minister's child, for instance, going through this means because he or she needs to get better life. Already he has a better life. What are you going to tell this kind of people to say, look, give me your child, let your child come and you know it may be difficult. So poverty makes us vulnerable.
It's the same mentality. The rich trying to get to Europe, to luxuriate on their lifestyles. The poor also wanting to get to Europe. It's the same thing we're talking about. It's the same intention, want to get there for greener pasture. These people already have a platform, to get there. You also want to get there. Forgetting that no two human beings are the same. That this person is in America today does not mean I should also be in. Your destiny, your provision, everything can be in your local community. So when people begin to harp on poverty every day as a cause of, girls traveling, even not just girls, even our boys, you need to see the dehumanizing situation or condition they find themselves in China, in Malaysia. You need to watch YouTube and see the rubbish.
Happening.
You weep for your country, you weep for humanity. And these are people who were doing very well in Nigeria. I'll tell you a personal story. A friend may be hearing me, but I'll use it as a lesson. This guy was flourishing well as a provision person. He sells beautiful things. He was making his money. All of a sudden, somebody sold the idea that, guy, you can go to America and be big. As infertile as we were, I told him, why do you have to leave your kinship and go to become a slave in America? The guy was obstinate. He won't hear me. Do you know what he did? He sold almost everything and even borrowed money to add to what he had. What happened? He was swindled because he was on his voyage to. As we speak, the guy is making due, as more like an aguero to survive. This is what that greed in us can take us. So
that's
why we condemn what is happening there, we also begin to search our minds. Let's begin to tell ourselves the truth. There's no free meal anywhere in the world. You have to work. When you get there, you must work. And the works are not even readily available. I was in the US and I saw how people were struggling to make ends meet. There's no luxury anywhere in the world. Where you are, it's your own abroad or heaven.
I think that's why we should sensitize our people very seriously.
Because I know I read a report sometime in 2014 too, where one of the people, I think it's same Italy too. He mentioned something about running away from Boko Haram, and then me as someone who was living in Lagos then was, but in Nigeria I know things are not really security wise how it used to be and northeast, but Lagos and other states are relatively peaceful. So why do you need to leave the country because of
you
security?
can just move to
but
another
then someone
area.
mentioned something that a lot of them, when these terrorists, especially when they feel gave out concrete information to security operatives, that they can actually come back to wipe away. Some people actually live in virtual fear, especially when they feel, there's no security when it comes to presence of security operatives trying to protect their immediate family. So they just feel the safest thing to do is to leave the country. So I also think those things should be talking about the visa. It will be
yeah, that's what I also wanted to add, because he's also talking about the security implications of these people living illegally.
Than never. It's really sad, to read that about 26 Nigerians buried
without a
outside
Nigerian
the country,
representative. Yeah.
representative, and then made worse by the fact that the report actually said only 2 of them have been identified, as in families have been identified or something. Able to just identify those 2 as at the time they buried them. So I feel it's sad, especially for parents, that may be wondering where their children are at the moment.
Who kept those children in those boats anyway?
A country without database will suffer this kind of embarrassment. How can 20-something girls died, buried, and no identification whatsoever? They've been in the news everywhere.
But people are concerned about the federal government's reaction to this.
When you have a weak system, I was getting there. No database, even if we have a database, wherever you are, we know. I go to China, whatever happened, what it is. Now we try to centralize government because of our perception. Think governance. There are institutions that are meant to actually check all of this. This is a human rights issue, right there. This is a trafficking issue. Have a anti-trafficking desk. This is an image, a country's image issue. Have an embassy. Stops the ambassador, Nigeria's ambassador, to represent Nigeria. Why should a Dogara and a governor Basiki have to take a leave of their official engagement from here and go to Italy? That is a mockery of our sense, our intellect. Doesn't make sense. A governor has more doing here, a teacher has more doing than going to attend a workshop to mock you that, I don't know how we reason, but it's actually a mockery that, your girls were died on their way to our
as
country,
they were fleeing your country,
sea, and now we bury them. You're not even there. Now we're coming to tell you how you should treat your citizens.
how you should empower them. Yeah,
and empower them. It's a mockery. You in public, in diplomacy, you mustn't tell somebody go to hell. You can even tell somebody go to hell and the person will be happy. Yes, I'm actually going to hell. So this is what has just happened. These people invited our leaders to come and face their shame. If I were the president or the minister of foreign affairs, I would have sanctioned the ambassador, Nigerian's ambassador in Italy. Who stopped you from quickly being in charge?
I think there was a time I interviewed an ambassador of the other country. He mentioned something. He said, "I'm here to represent my country. I'm not here to act independent of any instruction I get from my country." I also think maybe there is no communication. No.
That's a contradiction.
No, I think he cannot speak. He will also get instruction.
Let me tell you.
There should be a channel of communication, Sha. I am not saying that is right.
Hijacking the mic.
There is another mic here. I'm not saying that is right for the Nigerian ambassador there, not to. But if the federal government is truly interested in that,
I'll tell you the functions of an ambassador. An ambassador is the president of Nigeria in a country. I'm coming.
There should be a kind of communication between the federal government here,
Madam,
he reports what happens in Italy.
The country.
In Italy to Nigeria every day. That's his work.
Yes.
It's not about cocktail. The cocktail thing they do every day, dinner, is just to keep body and soul moving. What they do is they are more like reporters. Whatever happens that concerns the image, the concerns of Nigeria or Nigerians, they write and send almost immediately to the foreign ministry. And which in turn,
do you think even
ambassador in Italy or in Rome was?
Then if he was there, then why the noise?
Because the reports are that there was no representative. If he was there,
what from what Arospice was saying. Now, if you report what is, remember, you can't say you can't do more than you are asked to. Now, when you report, one will expect that government will issue out a kind of instruction.
What instruction again when you have an ambassador? This is a program. This woman will not.
Harry Spice, when you report, of course, even here, a lot of Nigerians have also raised this same concern that even at the heat of that particular incident, that a lot was not done. You know, coming from here,
because we try to excuse those giving.
Okay,
you are paying somebody's salaries.
Let's assume you expect the ambassador.
Do you know how many Nigerians are in Italy?
What is the right thing to do?
This is you know, we excuse indolence, insubordination, incompetence, and blame it on the central government. We have a contingent of Nigerians whose salaries are paid by you and I in Italy, who are supposed to do the needful. They refuse to do the needful, and now instead of calling for their heads, we are calling for the head of the central government. It doesn't make sense. We should be asking, what was the role of the Nigerian ambassador to Italy? Why this happened?
What is the role of Nigeria remains the question. And then Nigeria can be coming from federal government here or the representative there. Now, if you send someone to do something and the person didn't do what you expect him, he or her to do, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to fold your hands and wait until you are invited for, a conference or whatever on human trafficking before you start making the move against human trafficking?
These are the concerns that are coming up as a result
for the conference on
as a result of the perceived inaction on the part of government. Okay, so we just have to have one house at this point. All right, so we are really very passionate about this for good reason, but then let's just see how things play out in subsequent days to come. I think we should go in a quick break first, then before we take on the next story. Stay with us right here on X-Ray. We'll be right back.
Join our diverse team of legal experts as we provide education and guidance to you, our listeners, on a broad array of issues raised by the modern legal landscape, absolutely free on Pro Bono Chambers, airing on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting.
Human Rights Radio.
We are the joy of our nation. We are the unity of our nation. We are the makers of our heritage. We X-ray topical national issues and the trending matters of our time. Examined, dissected, and analyzed. With our team of analysts, you can be sure of an incisive discourse. 9 a.m., Mondays to Fridays. X-Ray on Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM, Abuja.
Thank you for staying with us. X-Ray continues right here on Human Rights Radio 101.1. To our next story, this one here, wife stabs ex-PDP chairman's son to death. Says Biliamin Bello, the son of a former People's Democratic Party chairman, Haliru Bello, was on Saturday allegedly stabbed to death by his wife, Mariam Sanda. She's the daughter of embattled former Aso Savings Bank boss Hajia Maimuna Aliyu. It's just brief, to that point. However, we're trying to look at things that, would lead up to a couple, ending up this way. It really is a sad end for whatever reason behind, this occurrence.
And this is becoming common. And we can term this as violence against. All the time we talk about violence against. Mm-hmm. We don't look at the fact that even the men too face this kind of reports, and it's becoming common about women killing their husbands. Whatever reason that is condemnable. I don't know why that should happen. Whatever the issue, I think we should be able to settle this and not resort to doing a counter thing like that. A man and a woman agrees to marry each other. We believe that they love each other. They are friends. They are companions. One family. So at what point will somebody take a knife to start killing one another? So there's a need for us to, I don't know, is it to look at our psyche, or is it our temperament?
I think it's a psychological problem.
What should we be looking at in a time like this? If you see your husband, is dating someone, or you saw a text message and then you start stabbing, is it enough? So I don't know.
Socialization, effective feminism, frustration and overt drug abuses can actually, are combined factors when things like this begin to happen. Last week we talked about violence against men, and I advocated that instead of having separate rights or agitations for women, I think it should be universal. Remember that discussion.
Yeah,
when you begin to see human beings as equal, with no different kind of rules for A or B, who have sanity. The society is so tensed up that we are distracted from the real value or essence of existence. Everybody is in a race against himself or herself. When we're not talking about gender equality, we're talking about rights for men, why shouldn't we begin to talk about natural rights for human beings? This is happening.
Natural rights.
Yes. This is in the world go, before family squabbles or domestic issues degenerate into violence, there are elders, there are community elders, there are traditional rulers, religious leaders who quickly wade into issues like this and have it resolved without issue. But now, because of what our knack for copying Western ideologies, you see women, asserting their rights, even though they have this right unchecked.
But in this age, can there really be a society that, cannot come and become a part of the world? Like they say, the world is a global village now. Is it possible for a society to really remain outside of it?
Societies
it's
are
almost
created.
impossible.
Societies are created independent of themselves. We'll have our different orientation. We'll have our peculiarities. When you discard your own and begin to learn from, copy another man's own, it's difficult to domesticate. It's just like carrying the part of a Toyota and putting it in a Keke Napep. It won't work. What we're saying is that there's so much dysfunctional orientation at the home front. Women are rising up to their rights, beautiful, but they are doing it in a very awful manner.
I don't think this is about.
This has nothing to do with feminism.
Yes,
okay.
It has
because
to do.
feminism, we all have, a right to believe, whatever you want to believe. It's your right. If you think men are equal or unequal to women, it's your right to believe in that. But we're talking about human life here and, placing value on the life of a person. I'm not sure I've read anywhere where feminism preaches killing, to defend what you believe in.
Yes,
no, that is out of feminism.
That's what I want to say.
Feminism preaches education for the girl child.
Yes.
Feminism preaches equal opportunity for both, and a whole lot of all those things. It has nothing to do with, okay, now if you're even talking of feminism here. Bringing feminism in here should be, if I cheat, then you have the right to cheat. Or if you cheat, I have the right to cheat. Which we don't advocate for that.
You also have the right to
no, because the man did not even attempt killing her here. So understand, so this shouldn't even come in.
Yes.
No, it should not
I
come in.
think her point is perhaps, the whole usage of the word feminism should not even
that.
I think things degenerate to this extent when you see two people falling apart and you keep forcing them to be together. It's not by force to remain together. If you think you can't manage each other, if you think things are really falling apart, you can stay apart. And families too. We should also be talking to families here. And when you see two people falling apart, you can just let them be apart while you talk to them. Okay. Because the first report I read is that the lady first beat his ear off or something, and then he was treated at the hospital. He came back. Some people were telling him not to go back to the house, but he said, "Oh, you have to not." Something similar to what happened in Ibadan last 2 years.
According to reports, it's a case of infidelity, and it's something that can come from either side. Okay, even though this is peculiarly about a woman killing a man, however, the other way around, it has happened
It has
before.
a
So
number
we're
of
trying to see
times.
how couples allow themselves to get to this stage where you feel so much hatred for this person that you once felt love
I
for,
know
and
the
it
right.
degenerates into this. They have a child together. They share a child
say
together.
that?
Even
There are
the
so many
starting
things
from
to
our
consider
Fighting
in
for
this.
women's rights has nothing to do with violence. Like Olive said, is about equal opportunities, education, and all that. There's never any part of those rights that women are fighting for that will make
That
a woman to
encourages
carry a knife
violence,
and kill her
yeah.
husband. There's nothing violent about any of
you know
those
why
rights.
I
I
think
talked
it's-
about
it's very important.
defective feminism. When you use the wrong advocacy tool, you create problem for yourself. You even create problem for
What is
humanity.
that wrong
I'm coming.
advocacy?
I'm coming. I'm coming.
To do with
A
feminism. A lot of people
famous
confuse that
traditional
term,
ruler.
rebelling against
I'm coming,
men and
madam.
all that.
If-
Feminism
if-
has nothing to do
Let me
with
learn.
re-
Let me learn. A famous traditional ruler in this country once advocated infamously that if his daughter, if the husband of his daughter dare lay his hand on the daughter should turn around and hit back. Now imagine this is a well-educated, learned, seasoned in all ramifications, very advocate violence as a means of addressing issues. Now, can we now begin to tie this manifestation that is happening in Nigeria? Women are now beginning to be violent in addressing domestic issues to what the emir canvassed, to what he talked about. This is more like a ripple effect. If such an educated man can actually, why can't we do this? And that was supposed to be an empowerment tool for women. Stand up to your rights. And now, because we are humans, we're not perfect, we have our weaknesses. In the process of standing up for our rights, we take it to the extreme.
So
the
how
extreme is what has happened yesterday.
if it was a man who did that to his wife, what would your line of thought be right now?
My line of thought would be that would be very barbaric. That would be very barbaric.
Would you make it a masculine thing? I mean, and say, well, it's because of his gender. He feels like he owns her. He's
you
superior,
guys have
or what?
painted. Women have
I think
painted
you should
men.
answer Ruth.
Yes, I'm asking
Yes.
her.
Okay.
You painted men as a violent.
No, but if he does what this woman
when
did,
he
it's the same
does
thing.
when he does things like this, instead of criminalizing it, you say it's because he's a man. And that is what I'm trying to say. That you don't have to be a feminist. You don't have to be a woman.
Ruth did not say that. Ruth said you mentioned that the lady killed the husband because of feminism. So
I
Ruth is
didn't.
not
I didn't
asking
say.
if it's the other way around.
No.
You
Now
have said so.
Now you are misquoting me. I said defective feminism, socialization.
It's part of why she did that.
Abuse of drugs. This, when you put this together, leads to what happened there. Now, through preliminary forensic side, we discovered that it was reported that there were bottles of codeine in the house, shisha and co. So when you put this together, I didn't say I say defective feminism, and that's why.
You should take
And
that
that is
word
why.
away from it.
That is why I was trying to buttress the point that when we begin to advocate using the wrong words or tools, you have this kind of problem. Let's not be emotional when issues of feminism or gender stuff are discussed, because this is why we're having this problem. Instead of using the right tool, instead of using the right tools,
we are journalists.
Okay,
we should
we expect to get some calls.
You are mixing up the concept of feminism, so we needed to clear that. You
yes,
understand?
in Nigeria, our version of feminism is being
talking about domestic violence. Every day it happens. I mean, almost every day. Just that, some cases are not being reported.
Yeah.
Almost every day, women die in the hands of their abusive husband.
And then again, beats the wife is normal, but when the wife beats the man, it becomes abnormal.
So we should condemn the act in its totality.
This is exactly my
let's
point.
begin to condemn the act in its totality. See, As it's hard, it's very hard to believe, but men are also victims. Yeah, men. That's what I'm saying. It's very difficult to believe, but men are also victims of domestic violence.
It's not just because she is a woman. Whatever has happened, and it's condemnable. Yeah. And that's why we're having this conversation, regardless of the gender. Yes. However, you kind of brought the whole gender thing in first, and it's making it look like women are beginning to become violent.
Are you saying defective feminism leads to violence in the house, in the home, drug abuse, socialization? All these are factors we should look into, not to become offensive with the use of feminism. I don't know why you are championing, you're making the word feminism to be an exclusive right of women. I'm a feminist.
No, I mean even a man can be.
I've been in this for a long time, so when I see my approach is not working, I need to cry out. I've done 1 or 2 studies, and I've seen that the aggression in certain part of the country against their men is becoming unbearable. I made a post recently on Facebook where I say this is leading to so many issues. Women are leaving their homes in droves, leaving their children to begin to wander on the streets, leading to issues of child negligence, child abuse, malnutrition, because of what?
At this point, though, it's very important for us to look at solutions at this point.
Yep.
Basically, that's it. Because what has happened has happened. It could be either way. So how can we avoid these kinds of things from happening?
My advocacy is that we should begin to use the right tool. Let's not let it not look like it's a battle of the sexes. When you are trying to address domestic issues, treat it like 2 human beings are involved, regardless of whether it's a man or it's a woman. When you begin to segregate, you see emotions coming, thereby overshadowing reasons. Now, the case here should be treated like a criminal case. A woman stabbed her husband to death. Whether she's so, let's not see it like it's a violence against men again. It's a violence against human beings, against humanity. So she should be punished, or he or she should be punished based on that crime committed. And that was what I was trying to say. That when women assume this position of we are standing up to our rights, or for our rights, these kind of issues will go out of hand.
We have heard you.
You understand? Yes, you have.
Okay, now in finding a solution to this, I think people should begin to be more open. It's very key. You must, there should be a level of trust in it. And you can't be in a relationship without being open to your partner. I don't know why people cheat.
Well, there are a whole reasons.
And a whole lot of that. But I think people should work on their temperament. No. Because you've been the one champion.
That it's possible. It's a man thing. For men to cheat. So this is what we're talking about.
No. Don't misunderstand me. Women cheat. I don't know why people cheat. Don't misquote me.
They should ask me why men cheat. I'm not misquoting, but that's what you say. We can replay
it. People should really work on their temperament. I don't know. And then for men too, men and women, if something is not clear, run for your life first. Talk from afar, because at the end, look, maybe as at the time his friends were telling him to, stay away for some days, so that the whole situation can.
Sometimes as a man, in the heat of anger, anything can happen.
Leave my house, understand?
I keep saying that
sometimes you walk away not because you are afraid.
You should be able to know.
And then for the woman, we are talking about the father. We are talking about the father of your. What will you tell this baby tomorrow when she kill the father? You can't lie now, because the internet, don't forget, is all over the net. People should really begin to work on themselves.
When we talk about violence, I keep saying that somebody who will kill you will manifest some few things that you should know that, this person can do something to me one day. So there's no need sticking around until you get killed. A lot of people, men and women, have gotten killed. And I know that it doesn't start from just that day. Yeah. Somebody must manifest some signs that you will know that, this person. I remember what happened. One man that killed the wife in Lagos one time, and the girl's elder brother said, "Look, that my sister had told me many times that she says that this You know, the guy must have manifested some things, that a very violent thing that she could tell that this man is an opportunity. But she stayed until the man killed her. And now she's gone. So anybody that will kill you, you should be able to know that the person has that kind of. You should be able to see what you can do.
I mean, we should not joke with family life. You may think it's just a little unit. However, it has a lot of implications.
Sure.
Now, this person, his absence will be felt at work.
Everywhere.
His absence will be felt
society,
everywhere,
friends are
entirely.
crying.
So, you know, it's very important, you know, not to ensure that we work against dysfunctional families and, you know, things like this lead up to this sad consequences.
Part of the solution now is that advocates especially women rights advocates in northern Nigeria and by extension Nigeria should wake up and begin to actually talk about drug abuses in northern Nigeria, especially amongst women. The high rate of, you know, drug abuse in northern Nigeria amongst women is very high. It's scarily high, that we need to actually shift our attention to that area, because some women are seriously abusing, you know, drugs in northern Nigeria. And this is not speculation. It's proven. Codeine, you know, tramadol and co. It's, you know, when you hear stories, when you hear testimonies, you understand that yes, this is a serious case. And again, we should begin to ask, why are northern women resorting to drugs? What is it that the men are not doing? Are they shying away from their responsibility? Are they abusing these women emotionally or psychologically that is leading them to take resort or refuge in drugs? These are questions we should begin to ask ourselves. Religious leaders and traditional rulers should actually make this a cardinal, you know, intervention area in their locality, so that we can you know, tame this very monster that's creeping into our societies. Women are always at the receiving end. When you have a disjointed or dysfunctional family, you have a you know, disunited society.
Okay, I think we should just leave it at that for today. Unfortunately, we couldn't get any calls in, but we appreciate you for listening out there. And to the panelists, well done. I'll get you all a bottle of water on our way out. All right, thanks for today's program. We'll do this again tomorrow, same time on Human Rights Radio 101.1. My name is Ruth. I'll be back in the 10 o'clock hour on Pro Bono Chambers. Stay with us.